So I invite you to close your eyes and really setting this intention, a direction for the period of sitting, that we are safe, we're in a safe space, there's nothing to do, nowhere to go, and surrounding ourselves with this bubble of safety, friendliness, to ensure and give relief to our sense of self that, look, you're safe, there's nothing for you to do or figure out, you're loved, you're protected, you're in a safe, friendly environment. So that threat system, that sense of self that's afraid, it can be rest assured. It's not needed to be active and figure things out. So our brain that's involved in scanning the environment and looking for threat or whatever, it can just sit back, and we want to make sure that it doesn't pick up memories of the past and future. It's safe. And one hack to do this is really these heart-centered practices. So before we start the body scan, let's bring to mind a sense of friendliness, maybe that loving kindness, this friendliness, that we're not a threat to others and nobody's a threat to us, and a well-wishing. So we can give rise in our heart a sense of well-wishing. Like, may all beings around us be happy and well and free from suffering. And may I be free from suffering and well. And that allows our brain not to be vigilant, not to be scanning for threats. It could just be safe. And yourself, any problems that you have, just put them aside and give yourself some kindness, your whole body some kindness. What happened yesterday, this morning, today, we're just putting all that down. You could imagine if you're holding a cup of tea or coffee for a long time, it gets heavy. And you get some relief if you just put it down. So anything that's been on our mind, we give ourselves permission to put it down. And with some friendliness, rousing up some friendliness and love in our heart. That allows our nervous system, our brain, our body to feel safe and kind. And it allows our mind to relax. It's interesting also, I'm familiar with the Buddhist teachings, and he was a really good meditator. Just a human who was a good meditator. And he always said that when you develop this friendliness, this loving kindness, this kind of heart-based practices, the mind easily gets into stillness, into these still meditation states. The mind gets still and peaceful easily. And it seems that the neuroscience behind that is precisely because that fight or flight system isn't activated. So you can be at ease and the mind is more at rest. So that doing part of the mind can relax, and we encourage that sense of knowing, that aspect of our mind that's just aware and knowing. And you could know what's happening in this moment. Maybe the birds, the wind. There was a bang, and it's normal, the mind goes to it. That's just the way the mind works. But we notice the safety and the pleasantness of being content and in this moment. And this is how we deliberately practice in the meditation, is we don't anchor up the worrying part. We allow that to subside, and we cultivate a sense of contentment, safety, well-being. And it's interesting, that through this stillness, when the mind gets stilled, happiness and contentment and this quenching, like you feel satisfied, and that comes from within, like a spring. The water comes from within. And you notice a sense of ease and contentment in your mind. And it helps to anchor our attention by something that's happening now and our body. This is good to allow our sense of mindfulness to grow by itself. And our quote unquote effort is just to be aware. And even when we hear letting go is not something we do. It actually, when I was doing my little research this week, even in the Buddhist text, the teachings, he always said letting go, this whole practice ripens in letting go. Ripens is like a fruit, it ripens in letting go. So it's not the sense of self and ego that does the letting go. We just attend and take care of this moment like we have a flower and the rays of sun. We're mindful, we're aware, we protect the flower, and then the flower petals open by itself. The avocados, the mangoes, the berries, they ripen by themselves if we just protect them. So letting go, it ripens, this whole practice ripens in letting go. So if we look at this practice like ripening, and our effort is just to be kindful, to be present and aware and still, we allow the ripening to happen, and we know it's ripening because has that taste of freedom. Truth, whatever is true, has a taste of freedom. Like our mind feels more at ease. We just know it feels right. We're not pushed and pulled by craving and wanting and figuring things out. We're not burdened. We just release the burden. Like, ah, what a relief. And that sense of relief, that there's nothing to do, nowhere to go. Our mind is at peace, at rest. That has that taste of freedom. It's very, very interesting. And just enjoy that freedom, because that freedom, you may not know the end goal. That meditation teacher I like, Ajahn Brahm, he once described when he was a teenager, he was on a mountain, I think in Machu Picchu, somewhere in Mexico. And he was climbing the mountain, and then some fog came in. And then he didn't know his way down. So he got lost and he panicked, but he saw a stream, and he knows water goes downhill. And he followed that stream, and then there was less and less fog. So he didn't know the end destination. He didn't know the whole mechanics of hydraulics or trying to figure everything out. He just knew he's following down the stream and there's less and less fog. So it's going in the right direction. The same with this process of meditation. We don't need to figure out all the theory. I like to look at the neuroscience, but just enough to give me confidence in this practice of letting go, that the sense of self and ego is not needed. But whatever works for you, you don't need to know everything, figure everything out, how, the molecules of H2O, how this stream is different from that stream. As long as you notice there's less and less mist, you're following that taste of freedom. Your mind feels more at ease, more at peace. Who cares what the name of the stream is or what it is? It's that internal gauge, that internal compass. And now we can trust, and that's true because we experience this truth. You know, people can call it this path or that religion or whatever. It's just true. It's the way the mind is. Whatever works for us to close our eyes, look within, and sense what I'm doing, how your mind is. Is it leading to more ease, peace, freedom, well being? And that's what we can rely on. And that's that internal map. And we're encouraging each other, sitting together. And I can share some different things to notice along the way. But you ultimately, you know it's true because you notice it within you. So we can scan our attention through the body because that allows the mindfulness to be more sharp and clear. To allow the mind to be more stable. You can give it a try. So we notice the sensations in our toes. And throughout the body scan, the sensations in the body will be like an anchor so that we can catch ourselves if the mind goes off to fairyland. We notice the sensations in our toes, and we allow our toes to relax. Under the ball of the foot, under the arch and heel, and that whole foot, notice how their toes feel. And you're welcome, even at the beginning, to take a smooth inhalation and smooth exhalation. Even some deliberate, in the beginning, smooth inhalations, smooth exhalations. Maybe a few. And notice how that affects the texture and condition of your mind and body. And then you can allow your breathing to be natural. But when scientists have been measuring the brain and measuring the body, they have found that just doing some smooth, deliberate inhalations and exhalations. And of course, they like to play around with different types of inhalations and exhalations. So you can find all that online, like there's some 2 inhalations and 1 exhalation, or the same inhalation or exhalation. There's all these different kinds. But for the purpose of just us sitting here, we can just allow smooth inhalation and smooth exhalation. And notice if it allows your mind to be more relaxed, more still. And if ever, perhaps there are disturbing thoughts that come up that make you feel a little bit anxious, you can try that smooth rhythmic breathing. Maybe I can send you, Andrew Huberman made a little few-minute summary of some breathings that work. But I can send that to you by email. That's if the mind goes into some very, very sticky thoughts. But hopefully that won't happen. So we can just go back through the body scan, being aware of the calves, noticing the sensations in the calves. Maybe your calves are tight from biking. However they are, notice the sensations in your calves. Allow them to relax. Being aware of the knees. and going up the thighs, and giving confidence that the sense of self isn't needed. We're giving confidence and trust in this process, that we're giving ourselves permission to just be aware of one thing, something neutral, just bodily sensations. And that simplicity is not giving rise really to wanting and not wanting and a whole bunch of predictions about the world. It's not needed. You're giving our mind a break, just giving it a rest. We're just allowing it to be aware of the hips, the hip area. And the only resistance of that is the craving to be, because the ego likes and is fueled by thoughts. So the ego wants to be, and that's the only kind of, that's what makes stillness difficult, is there's this push. And that's just coming from the ego, the sense of self that wants to exist and show itself by talking. That's why the mind thinks and talks rubbish, because it fuels the sense of self. When the brain is put into an fMRI to look at the blood flow in the brain, that the default mode network, whenever there's this internal blah, 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 that's when there's more me, self-referential thought about me, myself, and I. And it's quite unpleasant. And when that part of the brain slows down, there's more peace, but then there's also less of a me. So that's the balance, the balance is here during the meditation. We're choosing peace at the expense of ego. And that's courage. It's the courage to starve the sense of self and ego for the sake of freedom. And through practice, it's easier. It makes it much easier. And it gives us more flexibility. So people that have practiced properly for a long time, they can use the sense of self when needed, but then they can put it down when it's not needed. And it takes practice. So we're practicing just being aware of our hips, sustaining that awareness, because the practice only happens when we're aware. And being aware of our tummy, and just allowing all that sensations in the tummy to relax. And you can go through your whole body, going up the spine, noticing the sensations in your spine and the shoulders. Another interesting thing that I found is around the neck. You've probably heard of the vagus nerve, but if you're feeling a little bit anxious, you can stretch your neck if you want. I noticed just now I became more aware of my body, on how tight my shoulders are, because I was holding and carrying my son. And it was normal when a mommy sees her son being hit. Grant missed it yesterday. These teens on a scooter hit my son. And so that activated my fight or flight system, the adrenaline, the shock, the tunnel vision, right, to take care of him. And just now when I'm relaxing, I feel all the tightness in my shoulders. I'm just giving it some kindness and seeing if I just stretch my neck it tends to help relax. So if ever you're feeling anxious, you can try just stretching your neck and seeing if that helps. Oh, and I noticed right away that that helps. And giving kindness to the part of your body, your shoulders, and that sense of safety. And around the face, you can notice your jaw. You just release all the tension around the jaw. Allow your jaw to relax. Breathe in, breathe out. And sustain awareness. So today we're focusing on that diligence to maintain alertness in a relaxed way and awareness around the eyes, and stay present. We're allowing, and whoever wants to sit, grab the cushion, you feel free to do so. And just being aware around the eyes. Sometimes there's tension in the forehead. So listen and feel if there's any tension around the forehead. And with kindness, it relaxes. Right away, I feel my muscles around my forehead, around the eyes soften. Simply through this act of awareness. Awareness, we're bringing to light, like going into a dirty, messy closet. We're opening up the lights and seeing how messy it is. That's the process of meditation. Through awareness, we're becoming more aware of these habitual tendencies of the mind. Bringing awareness to the body allows it to relax, allows our mind to relax. And pretend that the brain has activity and just allow it to relax. We didn't go through our arms, so we can be aware of our elbows, the shoulders, elbows, our arms and our fingers. Notice all the sensations in the finger, the thumb, each finger, the second, third, fourth, fifth. It's all very different. And our whole body, notice your whole body resting and being relaxed and at peace. Just stay, observe, just standing back and just be mindful of your body, the general state of your body. It's interesting, my mind right away just is aware of the breathing. It could be because, well, I've been practicing mindfulness of breathing, so maybe it just goes to it. But if it doesn't, I invite you, notice the breathing and make that valuable, that this is a tool that you'll explore, a tool that'll allow the mind to sink or dissolve more into peace. And we care for it like we're a baby and we just feel the mother's breathing. Or when everything is settled in our body and mind, we're just aware of the breathing, making sure our face is relaxed when we're noticing the breathing. And noticing and knowing if you're breathing in, knowing if you're breathing out. And if there's thoughts, we don't pay attention to them. They're just part of nature. Notice the spaciousness and the relief that there's nothing needed, there's nothing to do. The only thing that you need to do is just being aware of the breathing with that background of relief, contentment, and peace. Remembering the value of giving this practice a chance. So by being aware of just the breathing and maintaining this alert awareness, the mind is more efficient. There's this zero kind of prediction effort needed. It's regular, it's rhythmic, and the condition to texture and the state of the consciousness very gradually changes in flavor, taste. These are all just words pointing at, but notice those aspects of kind of spaciousness and relief, stillness, clarity, kind of depth. And even this awareness of breathing changes in how you're aware of it. It's more subtle. To help maintain just awareness of breathing, you can be aware of the breathing, but if there are thoughts, you can use a little like an extra tool, like a training wheel, which is a word. So replacing many words in your mind by just one word. You can say a word such as breathing in peace, breathing out relax, or counting up to 10, like breathing in 1, breathing out 1, to 10, and then back to 1. You're aware of the breathing, so mindfulness of the breathing, and the word is as a side to keep that anchor. We want the most minimally, we're going to simplicity. There's some research on the minimal conscious, I forget the term they use, but basically, what's your state of consciousness when there's the least amount of stuff? So we're going towards simplicity, tuning down the volume of thoughts, of memories, just all that fades. And how is there just consciousness? And we do this gradually, less. And you may notice even it start to brighten up. All this clarity. Actually, light is very much used. There's no physical light. It's just somehow the mind perceives the mind as bright often when it starts to still. But remember not to activate the doer, the sense of self that talks about it. It's just shh, just knowing. So you can breathe in one, breathe out one. Remember, it's just practicing, rewiring your brain. Neuroplasticity makes it easier and easier. Just putting in the time, giving your body and mind to this time without expecting anything in return. The sun shines on the fruit without expecting it to ripen. The fruit will ripen, the flower will open up. It's just the nature of it. All we're concerned is shining the bright attention of kindfulness and just enjoying this taste of peace, being aware of the breathing. Just maintaining moment to moment awareness and attention on the breathing, giving it fully a shot. It's renouncing, giving up any ideas, philosophies that the self has, and giving trust to this process. And this process of just being aware of the breathing, it's minimally, it's kind of starving the ego. It's not feeding it. And through this process, there's more stillness and delight. It just feels nice. And consciousness, notice the relief, content, gladness, well-being that arises from within. Just stay moment to moment aware of the breathing. And breathing, even if it's subtle, and you may not notice if it's breathing in or breathing out. That's okay, however the breathing appears. Just stay with that subtlety. Softening your heart to this moment and noticing the contentment allows the mind to be more still and aware. It supports it. You can say a word with the breathing if it helps. Just gently. Just choose one. Make sure you don't make a story. It's ending all stories. Ending this endless proliferation, which is the blah blah. Don't need to figure things out. You just let it fade out. Just touching awareness of the breathing. Delicately, like holding a gentle bird in the hands, not too tight, not too loose, and enjoying the peace and stillness of rest, putting down the burden. Thinking is a burden. If you don't need to pick it up, notice the relief that comes by putting it down. Leaving it alone is putting it down. It's not the self that puts it down. It's just deciding, I'm not going to engage with it. It's like if somebody brings you a gift but you don't want it, you just turn the other way. You don't engage with it. So if thoughts give you their gift of headaches, you just don't turn the other way. You don't engage with it. Not engaging means that the thoughts are being starved of its fuel. You're not fueling it, and they fade in their own nature. Disengagement because of the truth, they're not your thoughts, they're conditioned. They fade away, they're impermanent, and they're actually quite wearisome, suffering there. We don't need to pick them up if we don't want to. And then, oh, what a relief, oh, what freedom. Simplifying more, just being aware of the breathing. Just breathing. It may be that awareness of the breathing is so subtle, there's just delight, like niceness. So just stay with however that's appearing to you. If it's just a sense of niceness, like joy or gladness, you just stay with that. Oh, coming at the end of the sit, notice how your mind feels compared to when you first came. Those aspects of stability, perhaps clarity, perspective. What happens when we allow all the thoughts and past baggage to fade away? It's like we're refreshed. The brain has a reset. The mind has a reset. And notice how refreshing it feels. And that allows the mind to have more value on this practice, to just doing it, just do it. And every day, when you have a spot in the morning, you can sit down and just play a guided meditation or by yourself. Body scan, awareness of breathing. Maybe start off with some loving kindness. And just doing it, and then you notice that you'll feel better after. And then you can face the day and others with a refreshed, different mind. It's like putting the mind in the washing machine, and it allows all the yuckiness to fade away, dissolve, just through this practice. And you can go back to the heart area, and then you can notice the benefits of this friendliness, radiating it out in all directions. When you wish others well, to be free, and yourself to be happy, free from suffering, the mind is at peace. It can't be in thinking, worrying mode if it's well-wishing. So that's why these heart-based practices are so powerful, because it's a direct antidote to this, any kind of anxiety or whatever. It's a prevention. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes.